Alright, here we go. This is time for our OSTP prep. This is for 8th grade on level review. So, here are all the answers through page 22, so you can check your work, see whether you did it correctly. I will go over a few of these problems. If you have a question about a specific one, you can leave that question in the comments below. Alright, number 1, he's a used car salesperson, and he gets $900 per month. That means he gets this no matter what, but then he gets a commission of 3%. Remember, very important when you're working with percent, change percents to decimals. So if it's 3%, the decimal currently is behind the 3, change it, move it 2 places, that needs to be changed to 0.03. That makes it pretty easy for us to find the answer because it's not this and this. Okay, he gets this plus the 3%, so it has to be this. Okay, 900 plus the 3% commission should equal 240. This one, number 2, a lot of you are having trouble with figuring this out. Olivia has 5 DVDs. Which one of these show that she has 5 DVDs? That's B, C, and D. Okay. Which means the circle must be a DVD. She has one more DVD, so something that shows one more DVD right there is one more DVD, then twice as many something as he has, so it has to be this one. Okay, in this one, 3 executives, they are also employees because it says the rest of the employees. So there are 25 other employees, 25 other employees. The 3 executives make 25,000 each, which makes 75,000. Subtract the 75,000 from the 250,000, and you will get, and then divide that by 25. That's C. Okay, here I showed you this little trick. We start out with the average that we want. We want a 90, and then we have to make up the difference. Here we have to make up 4. Here we have to make up 2. And here we'd make up 0, so we've got to make up 6. So plus 6, that gives us 96. And you can always check that work, plug in 96, and then average those 4 out. Okay. This right here is not an inequality. It's an equation. It tells us that the answer is 3. X is 3. So 2 ways you can do that. You could solve each one of these and see what x is, or you can plug it in. Put 3 in here. 3 minus 7 is negative 4. Okay. Which number line represents the solution of this? Subtract 5 from each side. You'd get 8 divided by negative 2. We get negative 4. Okay, so we have C. Which graph is represented? Alright, now remember y equals mx plus b. Mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. M is the slope. Okay, so y-intercept is at 4, which means it can't be B or C. The slope tells us up and over. Up and over. So this would be up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2 would be there. So it's not A. This one tells us up 2 over 1. From here, up 2 over 1 is right there. Okay, which ordered pair has a point that lies on these? Remember, this first one is X and then Y. So I can plug those in and see where it's true. Plug in 4 here, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 plus 7 is not 1. Plug in 2. Negative 3 times 2 is 6, plus 7 is 1. That's correct. We could check the others just to make sure that we're not making a mistake, but the answer is B. Alright, if the slope, remember, the slope is the number in front of the x, is changed. Slope is changed to negative 1, so now we have, and I recommend you write this out. Don't just do that in your head, write it out so you can see it visually. So now we've changed the slope to negative 1. So the y-intercept has not changed. It's still -2. So we find something that has a y-intercept of -2. Looks like it's between these two, so not A and C. And then a slope of -1 over 1. So from there, down 1 over 1. We need a negative slope. So this is the only one with a negative slope. And we can check down 1 over 1. Correct. Down 1 over 1. All right, over here, we are changing the slope of this line to 0. Okay, remember the slope is the number in front of x. So it's going to be y equals 0x plus 5, which means the y-intercept is 5, the slope is 0. That means it doesn't go up or down, it just goes horizontally. We would rewrite that as y equals 5, which is a horizontal line. So I'd go to 5, and then a horizontal line at 5, and see which one of these statements. Now make sure you're reading the statements closely, that you're not getting them confused. The new line will intersect the y-axis. No, it won't, because it's horizontal. The new line will intersect the y-axis. Yes. At 0, 0. No. The new line will intersect the x-axis. No. It will intersect the y-axis at 0 and 5. Yes. All right, page 16, number 3. The effect of changing the y-intercept. So you notice it's very important that you know what the slope is, what the y-intercept is. Y-intercept is the 5. We're changing that to 2. So y equals 4/3 x plus 2. That means we're now going through 2. That's not this one, not this one. It's got to be that one. This one also doesn't go through 2. But even if it did, if this went through 2, we could check. It says up 4 over 3. Up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. Nope, it's not there. This one up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. Yes, it's there. Now notice this is actually going by 2's. So I count here 2, 4, 6, 8 over 6. But 8 over 6 is the same as 4 over 3. So the slope would still work the same way, given that both the x-axis and the y-axis are going by the same increments. Over here, we're changing again the y-intercept to 2, so that's going to be at 2. So negative slope, and the only one with a negative slope is A. Okay, we could check the rest of it. Does it go through 2? Yes. Does it go down 2 over 1? Yes. Oh, page 18, page 17. She's buying a used car. Now this one, you can use some common sense. Okay? What's 10% of 3,600? Well, 360 times 3 is around $1,000. Okay, so it's definitely not going to be $113,000 in interest for 3 years. It's also not going to be $11,000 in 3 years. That's not reasonable. So remember to move your decimal 2 places. You're calculating with 0.105. Okay, so B is the answer. The highest temperature recorded is 120 degrees. What is that in Celsius? So we'll put 120 in right there for F. Subtract 32, multiply by 5, divide by 9. Easy peasy, plug and play. D, 49 degrees. Number 3, driving from Lawton to Bartlesville at 55 miles an hour. D equals RT means distance is rate times time. So the distance is going to go in here. It's 235. That means 236 is equal to, the rate was 55 miles per hour times the time. So now we need to divide by 55 on each side to find the time. Okay, and the answer is B, 4 hours. And a rectangular yard has a perimeter of 320. So 320 is the perimeter, is equal to, the yard is 3 times as long as it is wide. So the length is 3 times the width. L is equal to 3W. So right here, instead of L, I can put in 3W. So 2 times 3W plus 2W. That gives me 6W plus 2W, and that is 8W is 320. 32 divided by 8 is 4, so that gives me 40 for the width. So if the width is 40, then I can put that in here. L is 3 times 40. That makes the length 120. And then I want to find the area. I do 120 times 40, and I get 4,800. Page 18, solution here. We have to subtract 15. Now, that gives us negative 30 is less than A. Notice the sign is pointing away from the A. So A is greater than negative 30. In this one, we'll have to subtract 5 first. We get 12. Then we're dividing by negative 3. When we divide by a negative, the sign flips. So x is going to be less than or equal to negative 4. That means negative 4 going this way. Okay, here we have the model. These are x's, and then every one of these is a plus 1. So there are 5 of those plus 1. So it's 3x plus 5 is greater than. If it's further down, that means it's heavier. That means it's greater than. So there you go. Number 4 is C. Just make sure you're reading through that closely. All right, page 19. If we're changing into scientific notation, remember, don't just count the zeros. We count the decimal places, how many we move that over. Answer here is C. Number 2 is D. Number 3 is D. Okay, on number 4, if we know that 1/25 is 5 to the negative second, okay, we have 101 over 625. Well, it's a division. We know this needs to be a negative exponent. But you can also just test. Well, 5 to what power gives me 625? Okay, 5 to the 4th power is 625. But it's a division, so it has to be 5 to the negative 4th power. So it's A. Number 5 is C. Number 6 is A. Billionth is a fraction. And then let's look at page 20. Okay, remember when you're multiplying bases, if it's the same base, you add the exponents. So that would just be 8 plus negative 5, which is 8 minus 5. So 3 to the 3rd power, which is A. With a scientific calculator, you can type these things in, so I doubt, now that we get to use those on the test, that you'll see a problem just straight up like this, but it'll probably be used. Now, you might encounter something where you have to manipulate them a little bit, so we'll look at number 4. Okay, remember when we're dividing by a negative, if you have a fraction and you have a negative exponent, you move it to the other side of the fraction. Okay, so we'll move that up there. H to the 10th times h to the 5th is h to the 15th. Okay, when you move it, remember the negative doesn't move with it. Just move it to the other side, it becomes positive. Same thing in number 5. Move that to the negative 6 to the other side. Now it becomes positive. So we have 3, and 5 is 8, and 6 is 14. And then we're dividing by 2y's, so we cancel 2 of those out, and we're left with 12. All right.